You've probably heard that early humans survived predators because they were fast or strong or good with spears. None of that's really true. Humans are slow. We're weak for our size. We can't see in the dark. On paper, we're one of the worst equipped animals on the planet to survive a lion, and yet we did. Not by fighting better, by something far stranger. Let's sit with how bad our stats actually are, because it matters. A chimpanzee, roughly our size, can tear a grown man apart with its arms alone. We can't do that. A deer can outrun almost anything chasing it. We can't do that either, not for more than a short sprint. No real claws, no dangerous jaw strength. Strip away technology and clothing. Drop a single human alone in the wild against a lion or a wolf pack, and that human loses. Every time. So the story you've probably heard, early humans survived because they were tough, resourceful fighters, is only half true at best. It skips the actual mechanism, and the mechanism is stranger than anything involving spears. Start here. Predators aren't reckless. This is the part almost everyone gets wrong, mostly because of movies. The fearless killing machine that attacks anything that moves is fiction. Large predators are extraordinarily careful about what they engage with, because they have to be. A lion doesn't have health insurance. A wolf doesn't get sick days. One bad injury, a broken leg, a deep gash, can mean a slow death by starvation weeks later. So every decision a predator makes is a survival calculation. Is this worth the risk? Humans consistently failed that calculation, and not because of weapons. In a 2019 study out of UC Santa Cruz, researchers played recordings of ordinary human voices near mountain lions, animals that regularly take down full-grown deer without effort. The lions fled. Not just fled, they fled faster than they fled from the sound of barking dogs. Some abandoned kills they were actively eating, walking away from calories they'd already paid for in effort and risk. A predator that can drop a deer in seconds ran from a podcast. That's not an accident.
That's evolution talking. Here's why. Humans have been active predators ourselves for roughly 2 million years. We hunted mammoths into extinction. We wiped out giant sloths, cave bears, saber-toothed cats, species that had survived entire ice ages, gone within thousands of years of us showing up. We hunted wolves to near extinction across whole continents. And here's the part that matters. The predators alive today aren't a random sample. They're descended from the ones who were careful around us. The lions that got to bold around human camps got killed. The wolves that pushed their luck didn't pass on their genes. The ones that kept their distance survived, reproduced, and passed that caution down. Generation after generation, that caution became instinct. It became biology. So when a predator picks up a human scent today, something old and wordless fires in its nervous system. Avoid that thing. The pattern shows up everywhere once you know to look for it. Lions in Kruger National Park move less in areas with more human activity. Tigers in India give wide berth to villages sitting in prime habitat. This isn't animals being physically incapable of attacking us. It's animals that have decided at a species level that we're not worth the risk, but, and this is the honest part, that rule isn't absolute, and the exceptions tell you almost as much as the rule does. The Tsavo lions of Kenya in 1898 killed dozens of railway workers over about 9 months. But these weren't ordinary lions. One had severe dental damage that made normal prey hard to catch. The Champawat tiger, blamed for hundreds of deaths in India and Nepal in the early 1900s, was later found to have shattered canine teeth from an old gunshot wound. It physically couldn't hunt its normal prey anymore.
It had been pushed by injury and then by habitat encroachment into hunting the only prey that was consistently available and physically manageable. The pattern repeats across almost every documented case of large predator attacks on humans in camp or at rest.
Something broke. Injury, starvation, habitat loss, prior contact that eroded the inherited fear. The caution held right up until the normal calculations stopped applying. There's a second layer to this that's easy to miss. Humans almost never slept alone. We slept in groups, and groups respond collectively. A predator doesn't just evaluate a single sleeping body, it evaluates the fact that if one member wakes up and reacts, the whole group might. That collective response, unpredictable and coordinated, is exactly the kind of risk predators are built to avoid. Predators don't hunt groups. They hunt the isolated individual, the one that's fallen behind, and add fire on top of that. Fire is one of the only stimuli that triggers a near-universal fear response across almost every land animal. Not learned, not figured out through experience, just wired in. Lab-raised animals that have never encountered fire in their lives still show avoidance behavior at the smell of smoke. Humans have been sleeping next to fire for well over 1 million years. It wasn't just for warmth. A campfire broadcasts a signal into the dark. Something here controls a force every predator is instinctively afraid of. Stay away. So here's the real answer. Ancient humans didn't survive predators by outrunning them or outfighting them. They survived because, over hundreds of thousands of years, they became genuinely terrifying in ways that had nothing to do with muscle, unpredictable, loud, bipedal, and upright in a way that reads as a threat display to most animals, wired into groups that respond collectively, and carrying fire, the one thing almost nothing on Earth isn't afraid of. None of this means you're untouchable. It never did, and it still doesn't today. But it does mean that the fear runs both ways and has for longer than most of what we call human history. The predators were never fearless, and neither, really, were we. We just had better tools for making something else afraid first.